Today we have the honor of having the U.S. Coast Guard Color Guard with us today, but before we announce the posting of colors, I would like to call up here Councilor Ed Flynn. Councilor Flynn is a United States Navy retired sailor, served over 20 years in the United States Navy and the Navy Reserve. He served during Operation Enduring Freedom, and I call him a dear friend and shipmate of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, Ed Flynn is going to be reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone, please be seated. First and foremost, before we get started, I want to thank everybody for coming out here today. And I know it's very challenging sometimes to get out here, especially with the weather conditions the way I have them today. So I want to thank you all for coming. I want to welcome you all to our third annual Women Veterans Roundtable. Another person who I would like to thank are the folks here at the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company of Massachusetts for allowing us to use their space here tonight. This museum, as you can see around you, is a historical homage to our state's militia. I hope everyone has taken a few minutes, and if you haven't, take a few minutes to look around and take in what is offered here today. I would also like to thank the curator and caretaker of the space, Chuck Fazio, who's in the back here. Thank you, Chuck, for taking care of this space for us. A few other people who I would like to recognize first. First and foremost, I want to recognize the newest member of our Veteran Services team here at Veteran Services, Dan Jeffrey. He's in the back there with the pink tie. Dan is going to be heading our Outreach and Policy Division as its director. We got him from the state, so we're very happy to have him here in the city. Dan, welcome to the City Office of Veteran Services. Another person who I would like to recognize is Deputy Secretary Andrea Gale Bennett, who's here with us today. Andrea is representing Secretary Santiago in the Governor's Executive Office of Veteran Services. So, Andrea. She's also a retired colonel in the Army National Guard with the rank of Brigadier General. So, thank you for joining us, Deputy Secretary. So, as you can see, honoring women veterans and recognizing their contributions involves acknowledging the diverse and significant roles they have played in our military. From our very own Deborah Sampson during the American Revolution to the Army General Anne E. Dunwoody, who was the first woman four-star general in United States history. Women that served in various capacities, starting from nurses and support staff to pilots, engineers, and combat troops, breaking barriers and setting new standards for bravery and service. And I'm proud to say that today we have women that are on active duty and veterans alike from all services participating and representing us here tonight. When I call your service, I would like you to please stand if you're able to and remain standing. For everyone else, please hold your applause until the end. United States Army. United States Marine Corps. United States Navy. No, stay standing, stay standing. For all those, please stay standing. United States Air Force. There we go. United States Coast Guard. Everyone, please stay standing. And lastly, United States Space Force, anyone? No? Not yet. That is true. So I want to thank you all for your service to our country and to our community. Thank you. When recognizing these women veterans, we must also address the unique challenges they face, including issues related to healthcare, reintegration, and initiatives and policies that support women veterans. We must acknowledge their sacrifices and celebrate their achievements are very, very essential. Earlier this month, the VA announced that over 702,000 women veterans are receiving disability compensation. That's an all-time high and a 26% over a 5-year period. This demonstrates the commitment the VA is making, but more needs to be done as the VA is serving an ever-increasing number of women veterans. Women service members and veterans often bring a unique perspective to the discussions on equity, diversity, and inclusion. Their remarks typically underscore the importance of recognizing and addressing the distinct challenges faced by women in the military, as well as the need to create a more inclusive, equitable environment that values diversity. I'm very much looking forward to the discussion that we're going to have here tonight with our panelists. Their insights and their experiences are invaluable in shaping policies and practices that ensure everyone has the opportunity to serve and to succeed. Lastly, everyone should have received a book. Please read through it, as it recognizes a few of our women veterans and service members with us here today, and read their accomplishments. But more importantly, it contains valuable information about services and benefits for our women veterans. Lastly, I want to thank the staff at the Office of Veteran Services. They are the biggest reasons why we are here today. So I would like to recognize the ones that are here with us today. Like I mentioned, we have Dan Jeffrey, John Allison, if you guys could just come on up a little bit. Elia Pollack, Daryl Miller, and Renata Donato. They are all part of the Office of Veteran Services that serve our veterans and their families on a daily basis, and I couldn't be more proud to serve with them. So thank you. Now for me, it's time to introduce a woman in her own right who made history here in the city of Boston. She is a true trailblazer, and I'm proud to serve in her administration and thank her every day for giving me the opportunity and the responsibility to be the Commissioner of Veteran Services here in the city of Boston. Ladies and gentlemen, our Mayor, Mayor Michelle Wu.
Good evening, everyone. And thank you so much to Commissioner Santiago for everything that you do year-round for all of our veterans and active duty service members, their families, and the many ways in which Boston has a special responsibility to demonstrate how much we still owe those who have put their lives on the line for the freedoms that we take for granted. Every time that I am at an event, I hear about all the work that the Commissioner does out in the community, and he's always representing Boston, whether it's here, across the Commonwealth, or even down in DC, advocating for the policies that we still need back at home here. I want to thank the panelists and awardees tonight for your service. Happy Women's History Month, and thank you for all your many contributions and your leadership. And thank you to my colleagues in elected office who are here as well. Proud to serve in City Hall with City Councilor Ed Flynn, who's, again, I sort of see him as just a member of our team because he's often accompanying and making sure that those delegation visits are very effective for our whole city. And of course, tonight's keynote speaker, State Senator and First Lieutenant in the Massachusetts Army National Guard's Judge Advocate General Division, Lydia Edwards. We're so grateful for your service and your leadership. Thank you to Lavelle Seymour, who will be our MC for today, for your service to our country in the Air Force and to our veterans and higher education, and to all of the community members who are represented here. And thank you, Madam Deputy, for your leadership at the state. It has been almost 40 years since Congress first declared March National Women's History Month. and 75 years since President Truman signed the Women's Armed Service Integration Act, giving women the same opportunity to defend our country and serve our communities. But the truth is that regardless of what the law had said officially, women have always found ways to serve, whether we were told that we were allowed to or not. The Commissioner mentioned Deborah Sampson, born close to Boston, disguised herself as a man to serve in the Continental Army during the Revolutionary War nearly 250 years ago. Or Sarah Edmonds and Albert Cashier, born Jenny Hodgers, both of whom disguised themselves as men in order to fight for the Union Army and for equality during the Civil War. But even after women no longer had to pretend to be men to be able to serve, we know that too many still continue to pretend that serving was a job more fit for men than women. That's why I'm so grateful to our Office of Veteran Services and the entire team for organizing this event and so many other opportunities in community to dispel that myth and to hold space for all of us to celebrate the many brave women, veterans, and leaders who call our city and our Commonwealth home. There are more than 2 million women veterans in the United States today, and women are the fastest growing group within the veteran population. If anyone still finds themselves questioning whether women are fit to serve, well, just look around this room and wait until the panel. It is my honor to be sharing this space with those women who have made themselves part of that resounding answer. I had the privilege of joining Monique Holder and Meredith Tuitt last month at the Black Veterans Appreciation Brunch, where they continue to build community and to share the stories within our own community in Boston of how much our leadership has changed the course of history. And I continue to be inspired by their stories and all of yours here today. From pursuing advanced degrees and serving on the governor's advisory councils, starting your own businesses, coaching athletics, giving back to other veterans through treatment and care, or helping others navigate higher education. You, like so many women in our city, are proof that there's nothing we aren't fit for. You're proof that commitment to country and community cannot be pushed down or held back. So I want to thank all the women in this room who have served and all of our service members for your enduring every obstacle, for defying any critics, for ignoring any doubters, for forging your own path and holding that open for all those who follow in your footsteps. Thank you for fighting to serve the people and communities you love. We are so grateful for you.
And thank you, Mayor Wu, for your leadership and your advocacy for all our veterans here in the city of Boston. Next, I would like to call up City Councilor Ed Flynn. The mayor had mentioned that him and I, we do go down to D.C. We were there a couple of weeks ago, advocating and ensuring that those down on the Hill hear the voices of the veterans here in the city of Boston loud and clear. Like I said, he is a 24-year veteran of the United States Navy. He was city council president last year, and this year he continues to serve our veterans as the chair of the Veterans and Military Affairs on the City Council. Ladies and gentlemen, City Council President and good friend Ed Flynn.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm honored to be here with you and your team. You're doing an incredible job for the veterans and military families. Honored to be with my good friend and colleague, Mayor Wu, and thank you, Mayor, for your commitment to veterans and military families. And before I begin, I also wanted to highlight the reason that I know a lot about women veterans and their challenges is listening to the stories of my colleague, City Councilor, now State Senator Lydia Edwards, talk about her mother and what women veterans go to. And so I just wanted to thank Lydia for her service to our country and her sacrifice, but also to thank her mother as well. I know our women veterans are an incredible, exceptional part of our military. It's been mentioned. that they're the fastest growing demographic in the VA as well. But there's more work that needs to be done, especially at the VA. Boston has an exceptional VA medical program, but we do need, women veterans need gender-specific medical care. We need more women that work in the VA medical facility. We need to ensure that women veterans get the services and programs that they've earned. No one's giving these services to women veterans. They've earned them. And they've earned them for their sacrifice, their blood, sweat, and tears. And we're honored to be here with you today. And besides listening closely to my colleague, Councilor Edwards, I want to listen closely to you tonight, because that's how I learn about the important contributions you've made, but how, as a city, we can be even more effective in providing services and support to women veterans across Greater Boston. So honored to be here with you, Commissioner Santiago, and your team. Honored to be with the mayor and this distinguished panel as well. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Councilor Flynn, for those words. Now I would like to call up here our keynote speaker. So great leeway in there, Councilor. She has been a city councilor as well here in the city of Boston before she decided to go up to the Hill and become our senator. She is also recently became first lieutenant of the JAG officer for the Army National Guard. And there's a tradition in military service, and one that I'm sure she was very proud of. Her mother was the one who gave her her first salute when she became first lieutenant, and that was awesome. I wasn't there. I wish I was there, but when I read that, it was just an amazing, must have been an amazing feeling. You know, when I first met her, she did talk a lot about her mother, very proud of her mother, and I'm sure now the feeling is mutual. Although she was Air Force, and you're in the Army National Guard, but you know, that's okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor and pleasure of introducing Senator First Lieutenant Lydia Edwards. But before I give you the microphone, it's a little small than what you're used to, but I really wanted to go to her ceremony, but I didn't go. But I wanted to present her with the First Lieutenant bars. It might be a little small for your uniform, but you know, you could put it on your hat. So.
Thank you. Thank you for this honor and the opportunity to address warriors here in the audience. I am new to the family in terms of direct service, but because I was born on a military base and my mother raised me on many different bases with my twin sister, there's a certain special kind of family and connection that you have with those who serve. I want to say I was really inspired to become a citizen soldier, which is what a lot of us in the Guard consider ourselves. Citizen soldiers have been around for centuries. We say our birthday, honestly, the National Guard was before the formal military, December 13th in 1636. And I can assure you, in every conflict, in every crisis, in every moment, women were there. Every single one. Now there's more of us wearing the uniform, but we've always been fighting. In many cases, we're just now starting to recognize the amount of sacrifices that our women warriors have done over the centuries. And it's true, my mother is my greatest inspiration. I don't know, I guess it was, you know, it was an insult, I guess, growing up for some people to say your mother wears combat boots. Well, my mom did, and she would wear combat boots and high-heeled shoes, and I would watch her go from warrior in her uniform to a nice dress to go out to eat. And that's that beautiful balance of seeing grace and fire that I see in all of you, and I know so many women who serve have to balance. You never get to forget that you're a woman. You are trained and always are a warrior. And being able to balance both of them is what makes women in the services incredibly special and powerful. I want to say, honestly, the fact that I'm in a JAG is probably predestined because my mother was the first soldier I advocated for. I was 4 years old. No, maybe 6. And we were in a base in Lake and Heath. And my mother at the time had been divorced for 2 years from my dad. And so she was balancing being a single mom and trying to get to work and prepare her set of twins, drop us off at daycare, and then get to her job at CE at the time. And so she was trying to do all those things. And yeah, she was late a couple times, more than a couple times. And there was this chief there who always yelled at her. You know, and so she would tell us that. She's like, I gotta hurry up, girls. You gotta get in the car. Come on, mom's gonna be late and I'll get yelled at. And so finally it was take your daughters to work day. And I guess it was predestined. Anyway, me and this chief met. And I looked at him and she said, this is Chief, you know, I think she called him cuckoo as a, you know, an affection term. And I said, okay. I sized him up and then advocated for my mother. I backed up and promptly kicked him as hard as I could. As hard as I could. And I screamed, stop being mean to my mommy. So I have learned from that moment to still continue to fight for soldiers. Just don't kick. On camera or with witnesses. No. But I think that was that fire that my mother learned to nurture. So many times we tell our daughters to quiet it down, don't do those things, become less than, that's not ladylike. And instead, my mother said, I love that you fought for me, but you can't do it at work. She had to then go into her little conference room. It was a little awkward, I'm sure. The chief looked at her and said, you know, you really shouldn't bring problems home. You know, they take it personal and your families and so on and so forth. But ultimately, I've been an advocate and fighter for people since I was a little girl. So here I am today now, a JAG officer, and it's a true honor. I want you to know it is the best day of the month, weekend of the month, when I go to serve on base. I can't wait. I get up earlier, I get there early, I'll work out. I cannot wait to be on base serving soldiers. I take extra duty days during the week sometimes, and I'll forget going to the Senate so I can go serve soldiers and prepare their documents, their wills, their power of attorneys before they deploy. It is not a work thing for me. I don't feel like I'm working. I feel like it's a duty. It's an honor to serve those who are about to serve and possibly serve the ultimate sacrifice. And they come in all colors, as you know, men and women, and being able to listen to their stories, to understand the documents that they need, and to have this person, sometimes 19 years old, this young woman or young man, talk about, well, I think I need a will and a power of attorney and all these other really complicated documents, and you say, where do you live, honey? With my mom. And so, no, you don't need any complicated things. Then they ask you if they can go to the bathroom. And you think, Jesus, wow. Can't believe you just asked me to go to the bathroom before I do your will. And that's the kind of service that you have to balance. It becomes very real to you about what this person's going to be doing. But it also becomes very real in understanding the duty in all of us to serve our country at some point. I'm happy to be able to have the ability, physically, financially, emotionally, to do it now. And for all of you who did it for decades before me, especially the women, thank you for the glass ceilings that you have crushed to allow for myself and so many young women to come behind me to do it. So much of you showing up and making rank and continuing to grow has allowed for so many of us to come behind you. We see you, we honor you, we will not forget you, and we learn from you. One thing I have learned is to keep fighting even the hard fights. conversations around military sexual trauma is a hard fight. It's a real fight. And honestly, when we had the hearing, Councilor Flynn and I did, with Women Veterans, every single one of them talked about how they had experienced it. Every single one of them. When we visited the New England home for veterans, for homeless veterans, there was a whole wing of women. And I asked, how many do you think have gone through this? And the director said, every single one of them. And I don't say that to say that somehow there's a weakness or that there's a problem with women being in the military. Indeed, that's why I'm here to fight and represent those women, because there's a problem with a system that doesn't acknowledge that. When you come home and you come to heal, all aspects of what you've gone through need to be addressed. No soldier should have to go through that. You should be believed and acknowledged. And I've met women all ages, including my mother, who've had to tell me about the MST that they have gone through. That's inspired me also to push for state law to change our statute of limitations, which is 2 years right now, from the incident to the punishment to prosecute military sexual trauma. And you know when someone is down country and they're coming back, or if they're here in the States, it takes a while for you to acknowledge what has happened to you. And it takes a while for you to come forward. And by the time we're able to represent her or him, I want to acknowledge it does happen to men. In many cases, the offending officer or the offending soldier has left. They just retire early. So we're looking at those laws. Like I said, we haven't forgotten. You see the battles that you go through. And I'm honored to keep fighting those difficult battles loudly, proudly, and unapologetically. I promise. I'll keep kicking ass. Literally and figuratively if need be. It's an honor to serve those who serve. And I want to thank you, those who are mothers, soldiers, veterans. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you, Senator, for speaking on behalf of all our women veterans, and you're kicking ass. Yeah, you have proven it time and time again, and appreciate you kicking that door down and keeping it down for all our underserved communities. And I know she's also a big advocate of the LGBTQ veterans community as well as the LGBTQ community as well. She's done so much in that space as well, so thank you for that as well. Right now, Senator, if you could come up here, Mayor, if you would like to come up here as well. Councilor Flynn, if you would like to come up here. Right now, what we're going to do, we are going to be awarding 2 awards. The first award that we are going to be awarding is the Francis Slanger Award. If you look in your booklets in the last page, it talks a little bit about who Francis Slanger was. She was one of the first nurses to serve in the United States Army during World War II, and she landed in Normandy after the invasion of Normandy, and one of the first nurses to have be killed in action in Normandy as a nurse. She used to pen her experiences with the soldiers, and one of her many articles, one of them was actually printed in the Stars and Stripes, the military newspaper overseas. She would never live to see the day of that article being in the Stars and Stripes, as it was, the article was printed in the Stars and Stripes a few days after she was killed in action in Normandy. So we started handing out a Francis Slanger Award a couple of years ago, and I'm honored to say that this year's recipient is Marika Slohan, Dr. Marika Slohan from the VA Boston healthcare system. But more so than that, she is also she runs the vet center down in the Seaport. One little thing that I will say about her, if you want to read more about her, it's in the book. But I remember when she took over, within a week, I was sitting in her office down in the Seaport discussing what her plans are and what our plans are going to be in collaborating to take care of our veterans who are in distress. And she also was able to build a great team around her that don't have hours, It's not 9 to 4, it's not 9 to 5 or anything else like that. I feel very comfortable that I could call her or someone in her staff whenever we do have veterans that need help, and either they will take the warm handoff or we'll figure something out to take care of those veterans. So in speaking with others in the veteran community, we couldn't think of anybody else to honor with the Francis Lange Award than Marika Slohan. Come on up. So we have an award for you. Oh, it's a pull. Ah, there we go. Oh, this isn't it. No, it's over here. It's in the other podium.
Can I have you guys come up in front of the podium?
Yes.
Sure.
The next awardee is a person who, for the most part, doesn't need any introduction, but I'm going to introduce her anyway. She has been serving her community for many, many years. She's also served in the United States Navy. She was groundbreaking in the job that she did in the Navy as an airman. She also, right now, is the commander of the William E. Carter Post in Mattapan. I first met her when she worked in the State House for Gloria Fox. And then my now husband, Robert Torres, used to work for Liz Malia. So that's how I first got to meet her. And then, you know, we automatically clicked with regards to taking care of our veterans. She's done many things in the community. It's a long list. If you want to read more about her, you can read it in her part as an honoree in the booklet. But she is an amazing shipmate. And, you know, I couldn't think of another better person for the Outstanding Service Award to the community than Meredith Tuitt.
I'm going to be brief. I want to say thank you, Mayor Wu, thank you, Commissioner Santiago. I was, you know, today I had a conversation, and it was funny because I didn't tell anybody that I got the call about this. And today I had a veteran sister of mine in Virginia call me to conference me with a veteran spouse here in Boston whose husband is in the hospital, cancer, and they're trying to send him home without any services, and she wanted me to help him. My past commander at the post was sitting there while I was talking, and he was like, Meredith, you need to take a break sometimes. You know, I know you do this from the heart, but you got to say no sometimes. And I was like, well, how do you do that? You know, when you're trying to help a veteran that doesn't have a voice for themselves. And I had to say to him, I don't know how to do that. I'm going to always be that voice. I'm going to always go above and beyond for my veteran brothers and sisters, be it the older generation or the younger generation, because some of us don't know, like the Senator said, some of us don't have that voice, right? And I want to tell the Senator, I'm going to tell my daughter about you, because she was 2 years old in daycare on Naval Base North Island when she kicked her first Navy officer. So let me say, so military brats, I don't know what to say, but there must be something that we do And now she works for the feds. So imagine, you know what I'm saying? Right? But I want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you for always supporting me with all my craziness that I do sometimes. You know, trying to, you know, Daryl knows, and Santiago, I'll tell you, I text him in the middle of the night. I have a veteran in need. You know, what can we do? So I want to say thank you. Thank you for always supporting me. And the panel, I can't wait. My sisters over here, I support you 100%. My new sisters, I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.